Leo and I grew up across the street from each other, our houses nearly identical except for the color of the shutters. We met at 5, he had a scraped knee, I had a box of cartoon bandages. That was the start. From then on, we were inseparable. We survived elementary school, shared secrets under the bleachers, and passed coded notes in class. Our friendship was the map of my childhood. Summers blurred by at the pool, fireflies in mason jars, and promises to be best friends forever. With us, it felt like a fact, not just a promise. As we grew, our bond deepened. Awkward phases, first heartbreaks, algebra disasters. Leo was always there, steady and quiet, the keeper of my stories. We thought we knew everything about each other. Our friendship felt like a straight road stretching into the future. We planned to be in each other's lives forever. Weddings, kids, the works. The idea of a world without Leo was unthinkable. He was more than a friend, he was part of my identity. Looking back, I realize how much of my life was built around him. We believed nothing could change that. But life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. I never imagined the road would twist the way it did. Childhood promises feel unbreakable, until they break. Leo was my anchor, my constant. I never thought I'd have to choose between loyalty and doing what's right, but that's exactly what happened. After graduation, things changed. Leo got a new job, started working late, and became distant. Our daily texts faded to weekly calls, then barely anything. When we did talk, he sounded distracted, always just busy. I tried to be understanding, life gets complicated. But then came the money. Leo, always careful, suddenly had a new car, designer clothes, and picked up every tab. He said it was a bonus, but his eyes never met mine. He became secretive, phone face down, calls in the other room, closing his laptop when I walked in. I wanted to believe his excuses, but the red flags piled up. I told myself I was being paranoid. This was Leo. But the final crack came when he canceled dinner, claiming he was sick. An hour later, I saw him tagged at a club, smiling with strangers. He wasn't sick. He was living a life I didn't know. The suspicion turned to certainty. Something was wrong. The Leo I knew was slipping away. I felt like I was losing my best friend to a secret I couldn't name. The distance between us grew, and I didn't know how to bridge it. I kept hoping he'd come back, but he only drifted further. The cracks in our friendship became impossible to ignore. I realized I didn't know him anymore. The world we built together was starting to crumble. I was left with questions and a growing sense of dread. The truth was out there, just beyond my reach, and I was afraid to find it. The truth came quietly on a random Tuesday. I stopped by Leo's house to return a book. His mom let me wait in his room. His laptop was open, a rare sight. I meant to close it, but the screen lit up, a spreadsheet. Names, dates, numbers, product, street value. My blood ran cold. I scrolled, names I knew, huge dollar amounts, detailed records. This wasn't a side hustle, it was a business. A dangerous one. I heard the front door. Leo walked in smiling, oblivious. I mumbled an excuse and left, heart pounding. The world felt tilted, reality warped. The friend I thought I knew was a stranger. I couldn't unsee what I'd seen. The secret was out, and nothing would ever be the same. I walked away, shaken to my core. The road ahead was suddenly dark and uncertain. I realized I was standing at a crossroads. The truth had changed everything. I was terrified of what came next. The innocence of our childhood was gone. I had uncovered a secret too big to ignore, and I was the only one who knew. I couldn't eat or sleep. The spreadsheet haunted me. Every conversation, every odd moment with Leo replayed in my mind. The late nights, the money, the secrecy, it all made sense now. Leo was dealing drugs, not small time, something big, organized. I started quietly investigating, connecting names from the spreadsheet to news of local drug arrests. The timeline matched Leo's sudden wealth. My best friend was at the center of a drug network. I realized how blind I'd been, how much I'd ignored. The risks he was taking, the lives he was affecting, it made me sick. This wasn't victimless. It was destroying families, destroying lives. The Leo I knew was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. The distance, the paranoia. It was the weight of his secret. He was living a double life and it was tearing him apart. I felt betrayed, but also heartbroken. I wanted to help him, but I didn't know how. The burden of his secret was crushing. I was alone with the knowledge, unsure what to do. The happy memories felt tainted. I saw the cost of his choices everywhere. I couldn't pretend anymore. The truth was a heavy weight I couldn't shake. I was trapped between loyalty and responsibility. The Leo I loved was lost to me, and I was left holding the pieces. The weeks that followed were torture. I avoided Leo, dodged his calls, made excuses. The guilt was suffocating. He was my best friend, but I couldn't ignore what I knew. Loyalty and morality battled inside me. I'd promised to always have his back, but now that promise felt impossible. The spreadsheet, the names, the drugs, I couldn't unsee it. My silence felt like complicity. I thought about the families affected, the kids buying from him. What if someone I loved got hurt? I considered confronting him, begging him to stop, but he was in too deep. The operation was too big. If I spoke up, I'd be a liability, a loose end. The fear was real. I felt isolated, unable to talk to anyone. My inaction was a choice, and I hated myself for it. Protecting Leo meant letting his crimes continue. I didn't know if I could live with that. The question became, who did I want to be? Someone who protected a friend at all costs, or someone who did the right thing, no matter how painful? The answer wasn't clear. The secret was a weight I couldn't carry much longer. I was running out of time. Something had to give. And I knew it would be me. After weeks of agony, I made a decision. I couldn't keep the secret anymore. I called the police tip line, hands shaking. It felt unreal, like I was outside my own life. I told them everything. About the spreadsheet, the money, the secrecy. I gave Leo's name and address. Each word felt like a betrayal, but I kept going. When I hung up, I felt empty, not relieved. I'd set in motion something I couldn't take back. For days, nothing happened. I waited, anxious and alone. Then, one evening, I saw police cars and a news van on Leo's street. They arrested him. I watched from a distance as they led him away in handcuffs. He looked scared, confused like the boy I'd grown up with. I was the reason for his downfall. The aftermath was silent and heavy. I avoided his street, his calls, the news. The waiting was torture. When it finally happened, it felt unreal. I'd destroyed my best friend's life and a part of my own. There was no going back. The choice was made. I was left with the consequences and the silence. News of Leo's arrest spread fast. The official story was a long investigation. No one knew about my tip. I had to pretend to be shocked, to mourn a friendship I'd ended. Leo's family was devastated. His mom looked broken when I saw her. I lied, said I hadn't heard from him. The guilt was crushing. The legal process dragged on. The spreadsheet was the key evidence. Leo's defense tried to paint him as a small player, but the case was overwhelming. He faced serious charges. I felt completely alone, unable to share my burden. I grieved a friend who was still alive but lost to me forever. Our friendship was reduced to memories, now tainted by the truth. I was isolated by my secret. The grief was strange and heavy. I missed the person he used to be. The storm of consequences was quiet but relentless. I had to live with what I'd done, and with what I'd lost. Life moved on, but I felt lost in a fog. Every place, every song was a painful reminder. I had to build new routines, untangle my life from his. Therapy helped me process the guilt, anger, and sadness. I learned this was a kind of trauma. Losing a friend to his choices and mine. My decision came from moral conviction, not betrayal. Healing was slow, with good days and bad. I missed my friend, the shared history, the easy trust. I had to accept that part of my life was over. I redefined loyalty, not blind support but caring enough to stop someone from self-destruction. Sometimes loyalty means making the hardest choice. It's a complicated kind of love. I learned to live with the absence, I learned to move forward, and I learned what true loyalty really means. The verdict day came. I couldn't go to court. I watched the news at home, guilty on all counts. No relief, just a deep sadness. Leo got 10 years in prison, a decade lost, our plans erased. I was the one who handed him that fate. The weight was crushing. Months later I got a letter from him. He called me a traitor, said I'd ruined his life. The anger and pain were clear. I never wrote back. There was nothing to say. The letter was the end of our story. The void he left was immense. I mourned the friend I'd lost and the choice I'd made. The chapter closed, but the ache remained. I had to live with the consequences. The silence between us was final. Our friendship was over, but the memories lingered. I carried the loss with me, and I tried to find meaning in the wreckage. Years have passed, but the scars remain. I think of Leo with sorrow, not anger. I hope he understands why I did what I did. Maybe he never will. I've learned that courage isn't about being fearless, but doing what's right despite the pain. Loyalty is more complicated than I ever imagined. It's not blind support, but wanting what's best for someone, even if it means stopping them. I was loyal to the person Leo could have been. I don't know if I made the right choice, only that I made it. It shaped who I am. I learned to live with the consequences. The most important promises are the ones we make to ourselves, to live with integrity, and to have the courage to do what's right, even when it hurts the most.